them come. This is their fate.
Get my Birdman hands in there. All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay, here with my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. Today we got some topics. We got some things to talk about. Halo getting their engine update. Apex Legends having to tell us what their drop rates are for Heirloom shards. We got stuff about Gamestop, Starfield DLC being a little bit disappointing, and much more to get to. So we're going to be talking about a lot of that, so stick around. But before we get started, per usual, Jalen, Josh, tell the people how you been, what you've been up to, what you've been doing, how's life going, what you've been playing. Probably for Jalen, what kind of races you've been in. Probably for Josh, how Mira's doing. Talk to the people.
Yeah, it's been a good week for me. I've been working as usual, also trying to hang out with the family. We haven't gone out or done much because the weather's kind of been all over the place, where some days it's hot and the next day it's like pouring rain. But that's just Japan in general. But yeah, I guess recently we celebrated the little one's birthday and we went out to Universal Studios Japan and had a good time there as a family. And then since then, she actually, so she started daycare a few weeks ago, but she hasn't gone this week because we've been taking turns take care of her because she just had a low fever. And I think at all daycares, but especially here in Japan, I've noticed that if anybody's sick or anything like that, they always got to come home and they'll have you come like pick them up like halfway through the day if they notice that they're sick or something. So I mean that's good, so you don't spread it to other kids. But somebody's just had to be home with her for the last couple of days. As far as video games, I haven't had a whole lot of time to play much. I just got my free to play games in rotation. Hop on, do my little dailies, and that's it. But I've been in the mood, I guess, to play a shooter. I just haven't figured out which one I want to play. Because I mean, I know we got Black Ops 6 coming up to try out, but if it's
try
not,
and pass on in a week, yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm looking forward to that week though, for real. Ain't that right, Jalen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, look at him. Bring up the back end with those little two fingers in the back. I can see him right now. He ain't excited. He ain't ecstatic. That's all right though. I bring enough energy for the both of us. That week gonna be magnificent. Continue, Josh.
So I am looking forward to that to see what it's hitting like. Otherwise, I haven't booted it up yet, but I'm probably gonna play Halo Infinite again for a bit because it was always a fun game, and I'm interested to see what the updates have been like since I haven't played it in a very long time. And we got, obviously new Halo news coming up as well. So I think it was good timing for me to want to get back into it. Yeah, other than that, everybody good. So how y'all week's been?
Jalen, passing it to my Steam panel. Go ahead, Jalen. Let them know.
So same old with me. Are y'all surprised? But nah. The main thing is I had did like a run, so did like a little 5K. Been trying to push it to the limit, not just flying. So that was like my first 5K with me actually like really like running and like practicing, so to speak. I ain't been like super like practicing super hard or anything like that, but just been more consistent with running. So with that being said, I met my bottom line goal, which was to do the 5K under, I guess technically 24 minutes, or I wanted to have like an 8-minute pace with a mile like under that. So I was able to do that and do more. So my upper goal was to get under 22 minutes. I fell short of that by like 27 seconds. So I finished the 5K in 22 minutes and 27 seconds. So probably if I ain't eat none of that pizza the night before, I might have been straight. What y'all know about that pizza, boy?
Extra pepperoni?
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
think that
god.
piece. I think that probably would have helped out a little bit, like honestly, because I went to bed at like 10:30 at night. It was like Saturday night.
Mm.
Um, but other than that, I got a 10K coming up. I was trying to get Deontay to come up here and do the 5K and stuff, but I don't think he going live.
Yeah,
So
not going for it.
he said he deleted my numbers when I had to.
Said,
So
I
get
said,
the
new
new phone. Who
phone,
this?
who this? I had to hit him with that new phone, who this? I was like, man, you out here talking nonsense.
Yeah,
Like
man,
I said,
5K.
I don't want to be too bad on it, but you know, maybe, man.
That motherfucker, Jalil said he finna come up here and do it. My brother finna do it. We finna have that mother Juke and Torn finna come up here and do. I'm trying to see what else it gonna do. I want everybody to be running. They're gonna be the band of runners for you talking about. Josh, you come do one too. You over there laughing for that? Just come all the way from Japan to come run for 30 minutes and then go back home. Nah, just fun. But nah, other than that, just um it's like a little bit of YouTube stuff, but like game and stuff. I ain't really did anything besides playing that little, like I said, I be going back and forth playing that Pokemon reunion game. But other than that, I ain't did a whole lot. I did find out was a technicality in that game. Like Pokemon got these things called EVs and IVs. And EVs is what make your Pokemon well, they both make them different, but EVs is one you can control, IVs you can't control. And I'm like, bro, I feel like this game got artificial difficulty, and it still might. But I was like, I need to go ahead and quit playing and just max out all my EVs and stuff. So I spent some grinding time actually doing that. It didn't take a lot of time, but yeah, I was like, actually grinding stuff. So now I'm over here giving out heavy scrapage. They can't hang with me. You feel me? But other than that, that's about it though. So
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, glad to see you still focusing on that everything with the health wise, and definitely motivating me to kind of try to do something more than what I'm doing. I am exhausting my energy, but in a totally different way. I am literally just kind of working tirelessly to do a lot of other stuff around the house, and it is impacting my day to day where I'm either not getting enough sleep or I'm just literally not eating. So it is bad, but it's something that is like I'm just trying to focus on something else right now, and it's shifting all of my time away from everything else that I'd like to enjoy, because basically it's getting all of it. And unfortunately, that's kind of how my mind works. If I'm doing something, I have to like see it through to the end, and it's not really going to allow me to kind of do additional things. Like my wife would tell you I'm probably worse at multitasking, but I definitely do want to try to coordinate something. I just don't want to do running. It's just not gonna happen. Not running ain't for me. I already have just seen that, and that not health wise, it ain't gonna work. But I can do other things to try to stay active, I suppose. So maybe we can work on something like that or something outside of that that may be a little bit more in that realm, because that is something that I do want to put emphasis on too. And I know that you kind of got a bunch of stuff going on with that. So it's cool to see, definitely motivating, and I appreciate you sharing every week. But for me, I ain't really been doing nothing. I ain't really been doing nothing like gaming wise. It's been kind of like tough to sit down and do something other than what I've been focused on. And I have been just keeping up with the news and reading a lot and like researching a lot of stuff that's been coming out about it, but just haven't physically the time to sit down and play a game. I just haven't had it. So it's been like very dead over here. Because my setup is kind of all messed up because I'm moving spaces and I'm doing stuff, and everything is kind of like out of order. So it should be pretty smooth sailing mid-November, which is kind of crazy to say that in early October, but that's when I'll probably feel comfortable getting back to a flow of things before, I can start to let go of some of the other stuff and responsibilities I'm taking on at this time. So it'll be a while, but I think we have at least some sessions in for that. Like I said, I'm gonna make time for that Call of Duty. I don't know where I'm gonna play. I might play it downstairs in the living room, but we're gonna make some time for that. So be there or be square. What else? I don't really got nothing else. That's all I really care about at this point. It's playing, getting a false sense of accomplishment in that game for a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, I ain't really have much going on. Been talking and looking at stuff. A lot of craziness happening in the industry, a lot of weird stuff happening, but it's also been actually a quite nice to see praise coming for certain games that I actually were looking forward to. Now I may not have purchased them yet, but it is filling up the backlog because these games are coming out, they're actually good, and it's getting harder and harder to deny the fact that I want to play them. So, let's talk about some of that good stuff first. So one of the big things that came out recently, and it depends on if you consider it big or not, but one of those things was Halo is getting a engine update. Essentially, they're removing their custom engine and they're going straight to Unreal Engine 5, which is going to allow them to implement more up-to-date standards when it comes to graphics and fidelity. It wasn't really much of a change to the fundamentals, which obviously you wouldn't want to change any of those. And I think graphically, it will just put it back on a scale of being more forward leading than just being Halo. Um, and I think a lot of people comments kind of felt the same way. Like, yeah, it's cool to have an engine update. Yeah, it's cool to, have that graphical fidelity, but what are you truly inspiring to be at this point? Because I think Halo went from being at the top of the food chain to being something that was exclusive to being something that was, they had set the bar to being in the middle of the pack, and that kind of that comes along with compromises and just going for that old school feel and not innovating and not really doing nothing to push the envelope. My question to y'all is, when you think about graphics and you think about gameplay, I know I can, and I probably want to just have you repeat your sentiments. I think we talk about this a little bit, but graphically, when it comes to the Halo and all that good jazz, how excited can y'all get about a graphical update more so than a fundamental game core mechanics update? Or is it exciting for you? I guess I'll just start there. Is that exciting?
Please be excited.
Please be excited.
Josh sounded like he was more excited, to say, you said it might pull him away from the free-to-play games. For me personally, y'all know my grace with Halo, man. I kind of fell off of Halo back in Halo 4, so it ain't really nothing for me to be excited about, if I'm being honest.
They changed their name. They're not 343 Industries no more. They're Halo Studios. So
very good.
They don't say it like that. They may be trying to shift their whole approach, which is what I'm more excited about. But go ahead, Josh.
Changing the name, what is that going to do? 343 is still associated with Halo.
No, it's not. It's Halo Studios now.
Bro, 343 is from 343 Guilty Spark on Halo 3.
Oh, you're talking about... Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the sentiment behind 343 Industries being at the helm of the game was the problem. And I think changing the name will at least help disassociate 343 Industries with Halo, or at least give them a fresh start.
So they got new people, or is it just a new name, like a rebranding?
It's a rebranding plus new people. It's a new group.
I'd be positive and just like, all right, that's cool, because I have some worries, but it's cool though.
I mean, it sometimes works, sometimes it don't.
It ain't. It's an attempt. That's all. You can't. They're trying, right? That's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything on your end, Josh?
So about the name, I don't think the name is a big important change, other than them. Yeah, they want to rebrand because over the last few years since Infinite came out, they got rid of a lot of people, but that including management. So I guess now this is them saying, like, this is same studio, of course, but new management, and we got new ideas. We're going to do different things. And the main thing is that the guy who was responsible for making the Master Chief Collection, I guess, better because it didn't launch well, but he came in later to fix it up. He's in charge of the studio now. So that's just, I guess, people who've been following Halo are a little more happy about that because they like the Master Chief Collection. So that being said, I'm not that excited about the graphics of Unreal Engine 5. Like the
Mm-hmm.
engine looks very good, of course, but I haven't had a problem with the graphics of any Halo game because that doesn't really matter to me. It's always been more about the gameplay and the things that you can do, the weapons, the vehicles, uh, the modes, stuff like that. But mainly, I guess for 343, it's important that they're getting rid of the old engine because the old engine was the original. I guess they call it Blam or something like that. Blam engine from the original Halo trilogy. So Bungie made the engine. They kept building on it over time, and then they added new stuff to it when we got to Halo 4 and 5, and they were continuously building on it for Infinite. And I think the engine looks okay, but the problem is that it's very old and not like it has modern features, but it's an old engine. It's very difficult to work with. And if you know anything about, I guess, Microsoft or 343 about their hiring practices, that they usually all are staffed with contractors who usually only have like a 18-month contract. So that means that everybody that comes in has to do a whole bunch of training on this old engine that probably sucks to work with. And so that's part of the reason why they're so slow with updates, because it takes a long time to get it changed in the engine. Or at least if they move over to the most modern engine, it'll be a lot easier to do different things. Like, oh, we want to make a new mode for the game. We want to add swimming or something like that. It won't take them years to get it into the game. So that being said, them being free of the old engine might be good for the Halo franchise. And the main thing that I guess I'm excited about is that they're working on multiple um, projects. I don't know if they're remakes or anything like that. But I think the biggest problem not the biggest problem, but Halo is a big franchise, and for it to be in a state that it is now kind of sucks. And I think that they should try new stuff. Like they tried Halo Wars. I enjoyed it, but it's not my genre. But do different things. Yeah, Master Chief doesn't have to be the protagonist of every game. You know, all got to be FPSs. Like try different stuff and branch out. That's what I want to see. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay. I did like the aspect of the being able to do better environmental storytelling with the whole of biomes and being able to like showcase like some of the some of the alien planets a little bit better because honestly, yeah, when I played Halo stories, most of the time I was disconnected because it wasn't like the world was that super engaging and only played like two of them and honestly I think I missed out on the boat. So I think it might be better to start introducing new ways to kind of tell the same story with more environmental gameplay, more environmental storytelling, with more graphical fidelity to kind of showcase their vision. I think that's cool that they can play with that now, and it seems like they have a really cool vision on how to introduce those stuff into the game and not just having it, just be there to be there. At least that's what I felt when I was watching that little short snippet. I think he had a key point when he stated that he just was like, how do we continue to make Halo more engaging, more fun, and how do we, you know, um, get people to draw people back in because it's kind of like that's not like they lost their way in a way, but it's kind of like there's just the brand recognition, the ability for being at the forefront of shooters to being in the middle of the pack now. It's just kind of like it lost its identity as a true leader. So how do they continue to grow that? And I think that's what I'm more excited about, because honestly, um, there has been a staleness in shooters, and trying to do it all in one way or shape or form is kind of like recipe for disaster. You cannot uh, please everyone, and if you try to please everyone, you just have a shell of a game. So it's really trying to get back to their core audience, their core beliefs, and what truly drove Bungie to that higher level before. I think it was gameplay, solid mechanics, visuals, and level based storytelling. So I think some of those key things are something that they need to put back at the forefront. Um, but yeah, I thought it was cool. I'm not super hype on Halo, but at least I seen the merit that, hey, we're doing something about this game. We're doing something about this franchise, and we're hoping that you come along the journey with us. And I think they got Microsoft, so yeah, they got plenty of money to do it. So hopefully, by the 2-3 years from now, we have a significantly different looking Halo experience, and something that the Xbox fans can really be proud of, because I don't think that's the case right now. I think it's like an okay game. So let's get back on that, returning it to its rightful glory, I suppose. I never was a big Halo fan, but yeah, I can see the value in having that franchise be at the top of the shooter pile. So, anywho's, anything else on Halo before we move on? Anything pressing on the Halo front?
Yeah, because I guess I forget which anniversary it is, but this year is the anniversary for Halo as a franchise, and 343 is having a bunch of, well, not 343, Halo Studios. They're having a bunch of updates for the game in October and November, but one of them is a third-person mode,
Yep.
and usually third-person modes, if first-person shooters, are not that good. But I'm kind of interested in it because Halo has always had like a third person element, just only when you're using certain elements or vehicles. So
Mm-hmm.
it might be actually fun or uh, good when you play multiplayer with an official third person mode. So I'm gonna try that out, and of course, with all the Forge maps and stuff like that, they're having a lot of I guess older maps coming back, remade as Forge maps, as well as campaign levels. I guess that there's
Mm.
a E3 demo for like an old campaign level that's being released on Halo Infinite. So yeah, I think that Halo Infinite might be in a good place finally to spend a lot of time with. So that's all that I was excited about.
Okay. Okay. Jalen, you gonna download it, man? We gonna play some that it, is you gonna
I think it's still download on my Xbox.
it is? Cool,
I think
cool,
so.
cool. I remember the last time we played it was when they had introduced those invisible balls or whatever, like smoke balls, where they basically make a dome. That was pretty fun. That was the last time I remember playing it.
I think we played when they did it like in infection mode, didn't we?
Yes, we did, but I thought that was at the same time when they threw those things out, when we were like running around hitting people. I could have sworn they came out at the same time.
Maybe. Probably, I
Uh,
don't know. I don't even remember.
yep. Eh. But yeah, Halo is somewhat getting some revitalization in it, which is much needed. All right, but let's move on to our next topic here. Where do we want to go? Where do we want to go, fellas? Do y'all want to talk about Apex nasty? Starfield disappointing? Do we want to talk about let's talk about Apex first, because let's get the bad news out the way. Well, it's not bad, I guess. It's just always knew it was a scam, but just knowing how much of a scam it is, and the thought behind um basically you had to buy 500 packs in order to get these heirloom shards. They said there's a chance to get them in every pack, but the chances of getting it was so small that it was kind of ridiculous. It wasn't even 1%. It was not like it was super. It was like it's not like it was a percentage that was even worth talking about. The percentage was so small and insignificant that it really didn't matter, and that you more than likely was never going to get heirloom shards from a pack. Now, granted, that's not really the goal. They advertised it as less than 1%, but they never told you the true percentage. But because I think Korea, mistake me if I'm wrong. I don't know who it was. Let me double check that because I don't want to give out false information. Yeah. Recently, new regulations were introduced in Korea which required more detailed drop rate disclosures. In maintaining our commitment to transparent and consistent communication, we are providing all players globally, like this wasn't going to leak, with the same information so that you can continue to make your own informed decisions about in-game purchases. We have not adjusted our rarity drop rates and are now providing greater detail about cosmetic item drop rates. The published rates at the lowest possible rates are the lowest possible rates. As players unlock more of a cosmetic item type, their rates increase due to our duplicate protection. Apex Legends guarantee that players won't receive duplicate cosmetic items. This duplicate protection results in a variable drop rate where players' odds of obtaining a cosmetic item increases as they unlock more of that item type. Heirloom shards are still guaranteed if you do not earn them after opening 500 Apex packs. Heirloom shards drop rates were previously listed as less than 1%, but we can now share a more detailed percentage of 0.045%. What is that, like that's not even like half the that's like less than half. It's like 22 times less than 1%. I'm just trying to bring this into perspective of what they really were trying to do. They were basically lying, and it, and I want to make sure my math is right because I don't know if that math is actually right, but it seems to have been a very misleading chance that you would ever get any heirloom shards from an Apex pack. Not saying that they weren't egregious in before. It's 1%. It already was notated as less than 1%. So it's not like you were expecting to have it anyway. It's just funny how companies come out when laws change as if they're for the people. Like, honestly, this was going to leak regardless of what they did. If they tried to just go to Korea and hey, these are the numbers, Korea would have somebody in Korea would have leaked this and we would have known at that point anyway. So it's not like they're doing us a grand service. It just feels as if it's scummy and it feels as if, I don't know. I feel like there's a reason why I stopped playing Apex. There's a reason why I feel like that game should die at this point because they took a great developer and then they started to create this monstrosity of what they considered I don't know, high I think Apex Legends was the first to introduce high caliber gameplay with like, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like this feeling of you have a AAA game presented under this umbrella of free, but has a massive microtransaction component to it that is like very much so gambling. I feel like Overwatch tried to do that, but at least they charged you that $60 and you had a lot of free stuff you got in the game regardless. I feel like Apex Legends was meant to take a good game, a great game, something that could get people to continue to want to play, and then utilize that as a jump point to gamble. It was, and I don't know if Counter-Strike could be considered this, or any of these other games, but it just feels like this whole method is scummy. And I'm over it at this point. I really don't want to play any game that kind of contributes to it. Overwatch still being the same as that is. I feel like all of them have some egregious practices. I just think Apex Legends always went overboard constantly with how they treated the customers and how they wanted to earn money. It just didn't feel like the greatest. They always incentivized cosmetics. They never incentivized buffs, replayability, servers, um, experience. That the UI. They just never really felt like it was first of mind. It was always the back of the mind. Just like I can't get mad at Fortnite because Fortnite always had both running at the same time. They would do updates, they would do massive updates, and they will also charge you. Apex would do massive cosmetic updates. They would try to charge you, but they wouldn't actually fix their game. And it's still that same way. So many cheaters, so many things that's just broken within the game. It took them forever to get people to be able to, because they was going to lose a lot of money stream from people buying it on two different devices. They didn't want to give that up, so it took them forever to start to introduce cross save and being able to take your cosmetics elsewhere. It just screamed like they don't care. So then that's where it really was like, okay, make a decision. What's the point of playing this game? Why are you playing this game? Is the value still there? And honestly, I don't feel like there's any value in that game anymore. I feel like that developer has shifted their mindset from being, gamer focused to being more money focused. And I don't know if it's EA's fault. I don't know if it's Respawn's fault, but all I know is that I'm kind of over it. So when I see stuff like this, it just keeps continuing to tell me that you made the right decision. Probably shouldn't play that game. It probably is best for the developers as well as the customers to stop playing it because all it's showcasing is the worst of the industry, I think. Now, I don't know if I'm being too harsh because everybody has to make money, but I don't know. I just feel like over the years we've seen a lot. If you were grading Apex's run from start to finish or from start to now, what would you grade that and how would you grade it amongst his peers? If you had to grade it, like what would theirs be? Do you feel like they're just right there with everyone else? Do you feel like they're above? Do you feel like they're below? What do you feel about Apex Legends monetary system, but also their gameplay and updates over the past experience that we've had with it?
Mm.
I don't want to be too
Well,
harsh.
definitely the monetary system. I would say it's always been like trash. Because yeah, as a free to play game, obviously we expect to pay cosmetics, but I think Apex was one of the last or few games to come out with loot boxes and keep them. Like
Mm-hmm.
Overwatch came out with them, but that came out like many years before Apex. And after Overwatch, there was already a lot of talk in the industry about like it being gambling and a lot of pressure being put on games. A lot of companies, like no countries, coming up with laws to like combat that and stuff. So eventually, Overwatch moved away from that, but everybody else, all the other shooters, have gone away from uh, loot boxes. And I don't think loot boxes are necessarily worse than just charging, a huge price tag upfront. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that loot boxes they come with a whole bunch of different pitfalls, and it's very player unfriendly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Apex, for them to stick to it so long. On top of that, throwing in super expensive cosmetics and the battle pass. Um, I think they were one of the most aggressive, I would say, with monetization, and it kind of sucks because the game under it was fun, but like you said, the developers, I think early on, just started to focus on monetization. Like
Yep.
this is why we're This is why we continue to update this game, not necessarily to grow for more players or things like that. It's just to sell you more skins, and
Yeah.
then to sell you heirlooms, and then to sell you skins that evolve. Um, so yeah, I would say it's always bad and egregious. Overall, my feelings for it, I would say, are also pretty mid as far as like the game itself. Not because the gameplay isn't fun. The gameplay was always some of the best, but I think as an overall package, as well as with the monetization, um, yeah, it never really landed for me. Because I think the extra modes and extra updates and content were okay at best. The characters were good. I liked, and the monetization is bad. So overall, it was pretty mid for me. And it's unfair to compare it to Fortnite because Fortnite is a completely different thing. But I think they're the example of monetization. I mean, the skins are still expensive, but monetization is more reasonable. They don't have loot boxes, and a bunch of content updates come out pretty regularly. Um, so I don't know who the number two is, or the in between. If I say Apex is mid, if Fortnite is good, I don't know who the in between is. But I just wish that Apex was able to find a better, less egregious middle ground and to give more updates that feel meaningful more often.
Yeah, the only time I hear about Apex right now is literally when they're in the news about bad stuff. Like I never hear about them being anything good or righteous or great or having any like nostalgic moments or people rallying behind the game. It is always bad. So it's starting to become a very much so one of those games that you just avoid simply due to the amount of information coming out around it and not necessarily how bad of the game is. It could be potentially getting better. I'm not playing it every day, but all I can tell you right now is that the sentiment is very much so against it, and it's like constant. So it's kind of crazy. But what
I
about you,
mean,
Jalen?
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I resonate with a lot of the things you guys have said. I think, for it to be a free to play game, it was nice that I felt like you was getting good quality as a real good shooter at one point in time. It's one of the best shooters I was playing, aside from like Destiny, like the gunplay, I should say. It's been a couple times. Even my brother come in, he had seen me playing. He like, hey man, what game is this? Game look kind of raw. Like, you know what I'm saying? The gunplay, like, man, it's more like it runs smooth. You know what I'm saying? Just he
Mm-hmm.
coming in, just complimenting the game. Like, yeah, this Apex dog. We over here going, oh, you feel me? But I could say that like, pridefully per se. But again, the crazy part about the game was it had all this, the good gameplay, and I think they tried to cloak the monetization in it. Because it shouldn't have been any reason why those things costed so much. And y'all used to hear me say it all the time. All I'm like, I'm not spending no money on this game. It was just crazy how much the skins and stuff costed. I remember seeing some stuff like $30. It'd be a reskin of another skin. And then they really try to use the fear of missing out a lot. And I ain't never really get behind that. I don't know how I wasn't in a store like that, so I didn't get like a full grasp on a timeline of things. But I remember hearing at some point in time that y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes scans go away and then they come back and back in the shop again. You can try to cop it. Is that correct? Or
Yeah,
Yeah.
they come back, but the FOMO was a big deal with Apex, and for a long time, some skins would never come back, or it's been a year and a half since the last time it came back. And then I don't know if they advertise it, but like whenever the character would come out, right, they have their special unique skin or something like that. But that skin was guaranteed to not come back, or it's going to be a long time before it come back, like a year. So if
okay.
it is a new character that come out, you got to buy their pack, which is probably going to include extra stuff that you don't necessarily want to inflate the price,
Hmm.
in order to get their um, best looking skin or something like that.
Yeah, because they put in a bundle, and I remember seeing some. Y'all know I ain't really play with anybody, but Lifeline, come and get your Lifeline package. You know what I'm saying? That's the only person I really played with. So obviously she wasn't a new character, but I used to see like the packages and bundles, and even just $30 for like a skin pack bundle, whatever you want to call it. I thought that was too much for just a skin, especially since it was like a reskin, oftentimes or something else. It didn't really do much. So with that being said, that part of it always killed it for me because some of the games that didn't emphasize that, they either had the skins cheaper or it wasn't like a huge thing of fear of missing out. And then on top of that, the other games like Fortnite, they would have these constant updates and stuff. Oftentimes we talk about Apex, they're like, hey, they came out, I think it was like this little mode where they had these little rings in like weird areas, and they will all kind of expand, and you had to get to, it kind of sped up the gameplay, but none of these things came back. It was never no, hey, come play this type of thing in Apex, or they brought this back. I feel like they didn't recycle a lot of the game modes and like bring them back in a more timely fashion for the people who did enjoy it, because it just I don't it was always like, hey, we finna update this story, but bringing everything else back, trying something else, new game modes. Only thing I remember sticking around for a long time was the arena mode, and I mean that you could tell that was they just put that together. It was like, hey man, they want something like this, just throw that mug in here and tell them to shut up and cop some more skins, bro. Come get these skins. So basically, what I'm driving on is the gameplay was real good, but the monetization killed it. When things came out, they could have implemented other ways of achieving these things. And the skins, just like I said, didn't have to cost as much. One thing I do want to say that I appreciate about the loot boxes in Overwatch is that the loot boxes did get annoying, right? Okay, but I felt like the drop pool in Overwatch wasn't as vast as the drop pool that was in Apex. Like Apex, I remember looking at all the things, the little quips, the quotes or whatever, the calling cards, all these different things that you can get, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff that you would just never get it out the loot boxes.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that Overwatch did really well was they didn't have as many things, and then on top of that, when something do come out, usually when they advertise that skin, they be like, hey, Sigma got a new skin, Roadhog got a new skin on Overwatch. What you used to be able to do is play 9 matches, or I think you had to just wins count as 2, losses count as 1, but you had to play 9 matches, and then they would go ahead and give you a couple of skins or a couple of different things each time you hit an increment of 3. So you was going to get something as long as you put the time in and played it. But
Right.
Apex never did nothing like that. They just like, man, just buy it, bro. We not giving it to you, bro. Just buy it, man. Come on, just give us 50. Like, what's so hard about giving us 50, bro? Like, so that was the thing I kind of feel like is a slap in the face, and the game quickly died. So especially when they took away the the alternator, man. You finna get started on that, bro.
Yeah. So it was definitely one of those games that felt punishing to play. It just felt like it felt like you weren't having the greatest of times, and sometimes it could, like, there was so much little stuff that just devalued the game, and it just felt like it was unnecessary. And I felt like they never addressed it. They never got better at it. They never really cared to get better at it. And most of the time, it would just be like, oh, y'all asking for crossplay, y'all asking for cross save, y'all asking for 4K 60, y'all asking for the 120 update. No, we're gonna just give y'all this event. We're gonna give y'all this event where we're gonna give you a collection. You gotta buy all the collection. Y'all can get a heirloom. We're gonna innovate on our cosmetics more than we're gonna ever innovate on this game. And that's just gonna be that. Now,
And wouldn't bring you a map.
Understandably so, I understand how difficult it is to develop and create good maps and good characters, but at the same time, it just felt like the biggest request, period, was always my money and not like how much value they added back to the customer. So it just felt like it was like one of those games. Like I said, it was a chore to play because it was hard. One, it was difficult. Two, it was cheaters. Three, it was like it just felt like the odds of truly having fun time in the game was getting smaller, slimmer, and slimmer and slimmer. And it just felt like they did not have anything to combat it. So it did fall off the cliff for me. and monetization was a big driver. I think a lot of people just stopped playing it because it didn't feel like it was enjoyable anymore, and they just kept, hey man, we're gonna keep milking these people that gonna pay for it, so let's keep milking them, and that's all they really did. So my thoughts on it is kind of sentiments on everybody's here. It's simply one of those games that could have been great, could have been amazing, but the developers got a little too greedy. I don't know if they probably were getting stake in EA and stock, and probably things that would make them incentivize them to try to get more money out of the customer. So I ain't mad at y'all. Get y'all payday. I don't gotta play your game though. So I think that's kind of the overarching. That's just the overarching story here is that we don't have to play it. We don't have to buy your cosmetics, but we also don't have to bankroll you and keep you going and make you build you up to be a great developer when you truly are doing all the things that showcase what a bad developer would do. I'm not saying that there's not no pressure. I'm not saying that there's not outside factors. I'm saying that what you put out isn't what's serving me. So I'm not going to play your game. And whoever that does, great for you. If you can get past it all, I think it's a great gameplay, fundamental gun game. But outside of that, they can miss me. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had on Apex. Anything else to add before we move on? I don't even think y'all ever got a heirloom shard. Did y'all ever get a heirloom in that game?
I did.
Yeah, I got one.
Mine from a Dropbox.
You right. You got yours from a Dropbox. Josh got his too. So yeah.
Yeah, I got one. Whatever the 500 or something like that. Yeah, I was almost at the limit or whatever before I got it.
Gotcha. Yep. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Okay, let's move on here to our next topic. What do we want to talk about? Let's talk about Silent Hill 2. Dang, I ain't want to call it Resident Evil. I ain't want to do them dirty like that. But Silent Hill 2, surprisingly, is being reviewed well. Not so stiff. That game looks stiff to me. I don't care what nobody say, but everybody's saying that plays it. It don't play stiff. The gameplay is fluid and it's manageable, and overall they really nailed the atmosphere and the spookiness. So it definitely went from a skip to maybe I pick up for that 40 ball. Maybe I pick it up sooner if I'm really interested in playing a scary game soon. Because honestly, those are my favorite genre. I feel like they always nail horror games better than most games anyway, to me. I feel like they always give you a fun and memorable experience, regardless of how you feel about horror games or not. So, for me, I love them. And that's why I was like, Silent Hill 2 might be one of those games I might just pick up later on. But with all of the additional, reviews and people actually praising it, it did jump up a little bit for me. So I'm excited because I think a lot of nostalgic games are getting some recognition right now. A lot of remakes, a lot of things that are coming back, which is cool. But let's talk about Silent Hill 2 as a whole. Wasn't it published by Konami? This is another one of those Konami remakes, right? This is the same thing they're doing with Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, correct?
Yeah.
They're kind of going through and remaking it. Okay. So Silent Hill 2 is owned by Konami. Konami is not the greatest publisher out there, but they're at least having some significant swings in their favor right now in regards to people actually checking them out for games again. Silent Hill 2 was one of those games that kind of shifted how storytelling was done in games, and it also shifted a lot by the horror genre within gaming as well. It was very much so that psychological horror versus more so just physical horror, where it was kind of messing with your mind, telling stories through the mindset of a deranged individual, or even just the things happening around you that may have some psychological impact on you. So that was really the big selling point for Silent Hill 2, and it was the story, the cutscene, the line, the conversations, and then that moment to moment gameplay was just there. What I see happening here is that they kept everything the same. They didn't want to change much, and all they did was add to that better cutscenes. To tell their story better. They kind of, I don't want to bring up that conversation, but trying to tell the original story better using new updated graphics and capabilities, camera angles, and then also that moment to moment gameplay, bringing it to the new age. I know we spoke on this, but Silent Hill 2, does anybody have a pass with that? Does anybody have played it, knowing much about it, or seen anything about it as of today?
Yeah, I know the story of it. I never played the original.
Okay. Jalen, anything from you? No?
No, Sirski.
All right. Well, it's not that I am the know-it-all for Silent Hill 2. It's a lot of those games I play with my brother. I just remember him running out the room because he was the one that was playing on a joystick. Something happened. I think we first encountered the Pyramid Head guy, and he said, "I'm done with this game." And he took off, and he just left me there with the controller. The game still running, and I was like, "Wow, this man is a sucker." Sean, if you're listening, you're a sucker for that. But it was definitely one of those games that just felt like it was. I don't know. That's probably why I resonate so much with horror games, because it was like the funniest moments in gaming for me, because it was either super scary or somebody did something cowardly or something happened in the game that made me feel like, wow, this is crazy. How am I seeing this right now? And I think that's why it resonated with me so well with Dead Space and Resident Evil games and anything really, even within all of them. So Silent Hill 2 has piqued my interest significantly, and I kind of want to give out that backstory simply because it feels as if they did the right thing in how to make a remake, and they provided ample breathing room for the original to still be of a value, but they also brought in new additions that'll allow it to fit and feel the new age. And that's kind of what I was looking for, and that is the easiest way to win over the crowd. Target the individuals that have a history of it, and then bring it to a new age. Like, cause to me, the gameplay still looks stale. It don't look like it's the most appealing, but at least what I'm getting is from the buy-in from the people that originally played the original, had memories of that original, that have showcased that, hey, this is fundamentally the same game, but just brought to a new age. But it also gets that buy-in that they didn't tamper with the story enough for me to want to try to even go back to the old one. This is now the definitive version to play in this new age. And I think that is the simplest way to kind of ever do a remake or a new edition or anything like that. To think that tying in a nostalgia is super key. Like, you don't want to rewrite it. And I don't know if it's Konami's vision for that to happen, but or the people that's producing it, or the people that's like directing the games. But basically, this has happened for this one, and I think that's going to happen for the same thing with Snake Eater. Everything we're seeing showcase that they didn't touch cutscenes. They didn't want to touch how they looked. They didn't want to touch how they were done. They just wanted to bring them visually up to snuff with today's age. Like, they didn't want to rewrite the wheel. They didn't even want to change the dialogue. They just wanted to bring the game to a new standard, and that significantly helps with the appeal of today. Granted, everybody that kind of remember that game probably didn't play it again recently. So it kind of has that guise of time. Like people can say like if they go back to the original, only people that's really going back to the original is probably reviewers, but the people that's actually playing the game and really enjoying it probably have memories of Silent Hill 2, but they don't probably remember it in that way. So I think it's cool. I think I'm glad that I'm seeing that it's actually having a lot of success. Um, but yeah, y'all got any thoughts on Silent Hill 2 or nostalgia filled games? Anything that's coming up that's fitting that box right now? Because I don't really know of that many. I mean, Warhammer was a different. It was Space Marine 2 was kind of like that old Gears of War feel, but it was I think that nostalgic feel of just playing a game mindlessly and killing a bunch of stuff. Do you think that's making a comeback, or do we feel like it's anomalies? I don't think we got that many on the docket because I don't really know that many. That's like um, really honing in on that nostalgic feeling. I know Snake Eater, Silent Hill 2, and I know Warhammer. I don't really know of any newer ones that are like coming down the pipe that are trying to do that too. I mean, will we consider Horizon for Zero Dawn remastered a nostalgic pool? I don't think so. It's too early for that one.
Um, yeah, I don't know if there's a lot of one-to-one remakes planned, and
Hmm.
every now and then when they do come out, they're either hit or miss. I think Dead Space was a good example, but I think before Dead Space would probably I can't think of one right now, but I probably can uh find a list of games that were disappointing that were supposed to be like a perfect remake.
Hmm.
But it's good to hear that Silent Hill 2 is landing well,
Hmm.
because I think most of the not controversy, but worry about that game is that it's not really available on any other system other than PS2, and then they had like a HD re-release later, but that like messed up a bunch of stuff, so people were upset about that. So it's like, are y'all gonna mess it up again? It's been like 20 years since the original, and I hope y'all don't mess it up. And yeah, it seems like the developers did a decent job, and Konami has been talking a lot recently about we got a lot of the original staff's help to like give feedback on the stuff that the developers did. Because this is not being made by Konami, it's being, their licensing or whatever, but it's being made by Blooper Team,
Hmm.
the people that did the Medium, and the Medium sucked. So yeah, that's why people were worried. But it seems like, yeah, the partnership between Konami and Blooper Team, they were able to, yeah, hone in on what people liked about the original. Let's tweak some stuff. Let's update it. Um, but try our best to keep the original spirit of the game. And I think uh, if they were successful in that, then I think this will be a great, yeah, finally a great way to play Silent Hill 2 without going back to PS2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
uh
didn't
huh.
want to play the PS2 version. I definitely have great and fond memories of it, but I like it when they work out because I definitely don't, you know, like I want to get that feeling, but I don't really want to go back to that old game. So remakes kind of help with. I don't know. I have like a. There are certain games that ain't gonna be remade, like Fight Night, Fight for Def Jam, Fight for New York, or NBA Street. Like I go back and play those, but those other ones that like were experiences, I like to have those updated just to have that feeling again, you know. So,
hmm
but cool, cool, cool.
Yeah, and as far as Metal Gear, we'll see how that goes. Metal Gear, that one's been on many different systems. There are a lot of different versions of it. So
Mhm.
I think it can still review well, but people might be a little more not harsh. But I feel like there's less nostalgia for it. Oddly enough, even though the game is so old, but we've people have played it recently. You can buy it on PS5 right now or something. No, probably
Mhm.
not PS5, but you can buy it on PS4. So, but hopefully that one lands as well. What about you, Jalen? You excited for some more nostalgia remakes? I know you used to be buying all the Pokemon games, all the Pokemon remakes.
I'm just ready for Metal Gear Solid to have a release date.
Oh, you gonna get it? You gonna play it?
I was thinking about it, just because I tried to go back and play Snake Eater, but it just the controls and stuff be dated. So hopefully this one don't feel as bad. If it's feel bad, then I'm gonna just run away, far away.
Run away. That's funny. Well, yeah. Well, I do feel like from what they've been showing of Snake Eater, like I don't want the opposite effect to happen because Silent Hill 2, everybody was like, nah, this started to look trash. And then it finally came out, and reviewers at least are saying that it's pretty nice. I'm not sure if the general population is going to love it like that, but at least reviews are coming back pretty positive on the game. But same thing with Metal Gear Solid. I don't want people are really sweet on that game right now. They're like really enjoying what they're seeing, and I don't want that to come back to be a bad experience. But they're pretty confident, at least from what I can see, that they've been showing it off, giving new trailers, new cutscenes, and all that stuff. I think that is a testament to that they feeling good about it. So I'm hoping that it's good because honestly, I never finished that game. I remember playing it with, again, my brother. And I don't remember where we got, but I just remember it always constantly being like, we would sit around and just, I forget what we was doing, but I either we was always hunting for something or we was just running around, in like the grass areas, but it's like when we were fighting that sniper, I just remember that being like the more fond memory. It was some dude. I don't know if you guys remember. You probably
Yeah, the end. He's a
yeah.
sniper boss fight, and you basically drop in the forest, and you just gotta find him.
Yes, that was one of the ones where we was just running around and we were like, bro, I don't even know if we can go this way because we didn't know the mechanics of it. So we were just like, bro, just keep crawling and see if you can get closer to him, and he just snipe as soon as we got up. So it was one of those ones that stuck on my head. But again, I don't have the best memory. I just remember moments and moments like that, like horror games, all that stuff. They stick around with me. Like I don't remember a game through and through. Period. Never have. Never will probably. But moments do stick. So I'm looking forward to having those moments again in a new updated format. So cool. But what else? What else? What else? So let's move on to our next topic. What should we talk about? Let's talk about Metaphor. Has anybody seen? Can anybody lead this off? Has anybody seen anything about Metaphor reviews?
Seen a little bit about it.
What can you tell me? Talk to me.
I've seen that it got like some decent ratings. I didn't know it was made by a different team within Atlas. So it was like the people that made Catherine. I played a little bit of it. I mean, it seemed like it's straight, but I have to just play a little bit more. I literally played like 15 minutes of the demo, so I ain't got that much to say about it. But I mean, I'm gonna give it more of a try based on what I've like done so far. So
Okay.
go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I mean it's a different team, but Atlas still has a lot of shared talent. Like it's the same art guy as the Persona games, and the director worked on some of the Persona games. So overall, it's still what we should expect. But for what I've seen of it, they want it to be, I guess, a third RPG franchise. Like they have Shin Megami Tensei, they have Persona. We kind of want this to be its own thing, so it's combining a lot of different elements. You have you're in a kingdom and you're trying to take part in a tournament so you can become king. So it has a time-based element, but the time is not just Monday through Friday. It also takes into account when you have to travel to another kingdom to do something else, so you are on the road for a couple of days. So they're taking that Persona day-to-day life element and putting it into a fantasy zone. They're also letting you combine a sort of action RPG element. So in Persona games, you run around and there's an enemy right there. You sneak up on it, you hit it to get the first strike. This one, the characters are going to have different combos or different effects while you're on the open world. And if you're way stronger than an enemy, you can just kill the enemy on the open world and not even do like the RPG battle. But if you do sneak up on it, you get some hits in with your combo. That's going to trigger obviously the advantage with different effects on the enemy. And then the actual social elements, well, not social, the RPG elements, it's kind of taking a Final Fantasy Tactics approach, which, if y'all haven't played Final Fantasy Tactics, basically characters have classes or jobs where you want to start as a mage, level up that mage to a certain level. Then you're going to switch to an archer. And when you switch to the archer, you're going to get to bring over some of those abilities from the mage over to the archer. So now your archer can shoot arrows, but they also can throw fireballs. I don't know the class names, but it seems like the game has a lot of different classes. And that is going to be the main way that you're building up your party. Instead of fusing personas, you're bringing abilities from one class to another. So that has made it exciting for me, at least, that it's not exactly going down the same paths as the Persona or Shin Megami Tensei games. And plus, I really like Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy 12, which uses that sort of job system. So yeah, other than that, the game is reviewing well. Right now, I don't know if it's going to stay there, but it's in the mid 90s on Metacritic, and people are liking it. I think that has to mean that I hope that means that the main characters and plot are easily digestible. I guess similar to Persona, it's not doing too much weird stuff where people can still resonate with it. Plus, the gameplay is fun. So yeah. You picking it up, Deontay?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm picking up on PC so I can play it on my Steam Deck or my Lenovo. But I don't know if I'm gonna play it soon. I just know I'm gonna pick it up. Simply because it's one of those games that, honestly, I want a system that would allow me to pause it, which is the Steam Deck, and allow me to get back to it immediately. Like I can dedicate a device to it. So, with the Steam Deck being that I can do that, I'll probably play it on there. So, yeah, that's probably where I'm in that. I think that simply that's how I was able to finish up Persona, and I felt like it was a really. I know Jalen didn't have his reservations about Persona at the end of it, but I thought it was thoroughly good. I thought it was actually had a pretty decent ending outside of not knowing that he died, which was kind of crazy to me. I didn't pick up on that. I thought he lived. I thought he just closed his eyes, but you're absolutely right. That was a signalization of him dying. Did not pick up on that at all until y'all told me. I said, he ain't died, man. Stop playing. And then I realized, yeah, he actually did die. But yeah, that I still thought it was a great story. At least might change it a little bit. I don't like him dying, but it's still a decent story. So yeah, I'm more than happy to give Metaphor another 80 hours of my time. I don't know if I'm gonna play it with a guide. I don't know if I'm gonna play it with a guide yet, because last time I did, and I enjoyed it a lot more because I was able to do everything in one go. But I don't know if I want to do it with this one. I feel like that game was okay because it was a remake, and I was just trying to play the full experience. I feel like with this new game, I should probably just play it on my own the first time around and not maximize and try to get everything, because at the end of it, it wasn't difficult. It was just fun, but maybe that's what I need. I just need a fun game and not a difficult one. So we'll see. We'll see.
How much y'all finna pay for it though?
How much they asking? Well, actually, no. I think Humble Bundle got it for like 47 right now. because I got that like 20% off because I've been doing Humble Bundle Choice. So they got it for like 47.
Oh, okay. I want to get it on my Steam Deck, man. I gotta see how that might run.
Yeah. It runs okay. You can play the demo on it. It runs okay. It's like 45, 40 frames. I don't know if it runs better on the OLED versus the regular one, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty comparable to it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not bad. It's enough to play on there because it's like those games aren't that big. You know, they're not like graphically pressing or pushing anything. They're like really just about the story, about the gameplay, flashiness, and with an OLED screen, I'm getting all of that still, so I ain't really tripping. So yeah.
New patch for ReFantazio demo improves Steam Deck performance.
There you go. But okay. That's cool. Glad Metaphor is doing well. So I didn't want to tell y'all last time because y'all already know my business. But I can tell y'all this time. Because I'm putting y'all in my business. I did secure a PS5 Pro Anniversary Edition bundle. And I'm going to keep it, not selling it. And I bring that up because GameStop got credit for cash. And I want to talk to y'all about, not y'all, but the audience. Because y'all already know. Y'all already know my spending habits and my inability to not be impulsive. But I kind of want to say to them that, hey, GameStop is doing credit as cash right now. So if you want to go in there and if you're one of those people that went out and bought a PS5 Pro for some reason, whatever compelled you to do it, who cares at this point? You bought it. There is an opportunity for you not to have to deal with eBay. I think it's like $330, but they might have an extra 20% additional on top of that for being a pro member that you could possibly take advantage of. That might get you a little bit higher. I know some people are saying that you get $30 coupon that's in your thing if you look for that. So check out GameStop, check for your coupon. I don't think you're going to get more than $400 for a PS5 today. And you're definitely going to have to pay for the fees and shipping. So honestly, you might come out to around $330 profit if you go the other route anyway. So just something to thought about it. I'm probably going to take mine in tomorrow because I really don't play it and I don't need it. But I got another one. So I don't want to sound stupid, but I do. It's the point of it is that I don't need that one no more. So if you guys are interested, definitely go and check out GameStop. I don't know if they're doing any additional promotions, but it is cool to see that they are trying to at least bring some value to gamers because I'm not messing with eBay. Most of the time, if I go on eBay, I'm paying too much, and people are already trying to charge me extra for shipping, so eBay don't tax them on their profit, and it's kind of like, man, come on now, y'all acting ridiculous on here. So if you're like me, you don't want to deal with that, go to GameStop. But speaking of GameStop, I did want to also mention that they're the level the level of expertise and the level of gaming, like I think GameStop has devalued the amount of respect you put on someone that knows their stuff in their stores. Honestly, it feels like you walking into any grocery store. Like nobody knows about the grocery store business. It feels like anybody that works at GameStop has nothing to do about games. They don't know nothing about games. They might have some type of tad interest in games, but they don't know nothing about it. Like not to a degree that you normally would. Someone that's trying to sell you additional games. So, again, I think they devalue that. I think their store experience is terrible at this point. They don't have many good stores, and the one that was close to me recently closed. So be conscious of that as well. Like, if you're going to go in there, I would say take the cash, to be honest, simply due to the fact that I don't trust their systems at this point. I don't trust them the ability to get me things on time. I don't trust anything about the system for them. Like there's a lot of failures within that system now that you can buy a game online, you can get a different game. You can go to the store and reserve a copy of a game and then that copy not be there. You can say I want a new game and you reserve a new game and then there's no plastic on it, it's just a sticker because it's not necessarily new. They opened it. It's just a lot of weird things that happen within that store that tells me that it probably isn't best to be a customer anymore. But that's not what I'm talking about today. What I want to talk to you about is simply go in there and get your money. If you're in that same space and you're trying to get rid of your PS5 because you probably bought a PS5 Pro and that comes November 7th, you should probably head down to your local GameStop and try to off that thing. And if not, take a gamble on eBay. How much did you sell your console for, Josh, when you sold yours? Didn't you get more, technically, than you paid?
No, I didn't get more. I have to check because I'm in Japan, so the pricing is different.
Mm-hmm.
But give me a minute to look.
Okay. But yeah, no, I think that I think that's a decent price. What you think, Jalen? $330? Would you pay $330 on the street for a PS5?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's straight.
I mean, what's you really gonna profit off of? I mean, it's not like it's not much you can.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said it's straight. I mean, just thinking about the straight.
The hassle of selling a console today.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah,
if you go to eBay
end
or
up.
something, all the stuff you got to go through to do all that. Then you got to make sure you don't get ganked at the end. So.
Yeah.
After doing like the currency stuff, I end up getting around like $330 for mine.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent amount. So I'll be up there tomorrow. Throw that thing off. I gotta buy PlayStation Plus so I can back up my saves. So I do gotta take that into account that I have to purchase PlayStation Plus for at least 2 months, or a month, so that I can back up my saves and re-download them once I get the new device. But outside of that, I really don't care about having PlayStation Plus. I might end up just getting a full month, a full 12, because it's the most beneficial for the price. If I'm gonna be paying I think it's like $20 for, I forget how much it is now for a 1 month code. I have to look online, but it's annoying, essentially, is what I'm trying to say, that they charging me to save my cloud games. I could put them on my disc, but I don't trust it. Honestly, I don't. Like, doing stuff like that, to me, I trust the cloud more than I trust my hardware. Because sometimes, like last time, I don't remember, when I was moving stuff from my PS5 from my PS5 Pro, like, it didn't work the way it was supposed to, and it ended up still having to use the cloud system to recover it. And I just don't want to chance it, so I'm gonna just go ahead and buy that PlayStation Plus, and then I do that tonight so I can off that thing. But yeah, that thing big anyway. It's huge. So that's not. It's like a dang on spaceship. The other one's not that much smaller, but at least I get a stand. That helps. But yeah, okay. Anything to add to the PS5 Pro craziness before we move on?
Nope, not for me.
Alrighty. Okay. Let's move on to our next topic, Starfield. So Starfield had They had their DLC Shattered Space come out recently, and I kind of got mixed online reviews. It was a little bit of both, where people were saying that it was really good, and then some people were saying that it was too small and not worthy of a Bethesda DLC. Honestly, I don't know what that last one means, like not worthy of their be a DLC for Bethesda, um, because I feel like I don't know, maybe their DLCs were bigger in the past. I only can gauge based off Witcher's like um blood and wine, and then Phantom Liberty. So I don't really have a gauge on great DLC outside of like the greatest, like Elden Rings, Shadow of the Erd Tree or something like that. Like I don't have a gauge on what good DLC is and what bad DLC is, because DLC can be hit or miss. So I don't know. Do y'all have a his? Do y'all even know any Bethesda DLC that I thought was good?
I mean, yeah, but this has had a lot of
I guess
games that
personally,
DLC is.
not more so like yes they had it because that's what they said. I'm more so like, have y'all personally said, "Ooh, this is a great DLC for a piece of Bethesda software"?
Yeah, the Skyrim DLCs. I forget the name of it. It's the vampire one.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry, let me get
no,
the
you're
name
fine.
right before I go into it. Uh, Dawnguard. Because I've only played the complete edition. But Dawnguard is where they added like a vampire campaign
Oh,
where you
okay.
go through the story, you meet vampires, you become a vampire, it gives you new abilities as a vampire, and then you can play the rest of the game like that. And I think that DLC on its own just it felt substantial, where this whole quest line is not just like a couple quests and you run around, do a couple errands, you do this quest and then it's over. It felt like it really impacts uh the rest of the game as well. So I haven't played the Starfield DLC, but if people are complaining about it, it's more this feels like an extension of the original game, but it doesn't feel like a substantial
Hmm.
jump off point, where I think that's what people expect from Bethesda DLC, because they've kind of done both. Because I've also played some DLC for the Fallout games where this is just a quest line. Here's a new city, 10 new NPCs, we got 3 or 4 new guns or something like that. You go through, you do the quest, but this feels like this could have just been in the main game, um, instead of something that's new. Kind of, I guess, not like a sequel, but a semi. You know, we're doing stuff we couldn't do before in the main game. So here's a new experience.
Hmm. Yeah. Um. I don't know. I guess I just don't. I feel like I don't have a good way of gauging DLC, to be honest. I feel like there's like DLC. I feel like it'd be a different game, and then there's
So
DLC that I'm justifying purchasing because of certain things happening in the DLC. But it's never been like this standalone DLC was worth it to me. I don't know. I never felt that way about a
so
DLC
that's
component.
that's the point I want to mention, because I think, yeah, some DLC is just DLC. It's an extra mission. But then there are expansions, which
Yes, there
the
is.
name are interchangeable. People are going to use the names differently. The point that I think that expansions that people like when they're good is that the expansion feels like a game, because you haven't done much of Blood and Wine, but Blood and Wine on its own is like 20 hours, and it's not a padded 20 hours. It's like a whole bunch of cutscenes, a whole bunch of different endings, a whole bunch of different routes that you can do the story, different armor. You don't see anything from the base game. You're in a completely brand new open world environment. So this feels like its own game. If Elden Ring is like 5 times too big, then the DLC is going to be like, okay, the DLC is like 30% of the main game, and that's kind of what people like about expansions. Whereas DLC is usually, like I said, it's a quest line. You know, it's a couple quests, it's like 10 quests. You're gonna spend like 5 to 6 hours on it, and then that's it. And I think that's the difference. Both could be good, both have their reasons. But if you're expecting an expansion and you only get 6 hours and it feels more of the same, I can see how that's disappointing.
Yeah. Okay. Now, have you had any opportunity to check out any reviews? You as well, Jalen. If anything that y'all seen that may entice y'all to want to play it, or anything indifferent, or however, have you seen anything about Shattered Space that could be an opposing view?
So I haven't. So I've seen. I've been reading a lot about impressions of it and discussions. Mostly, I think that some of it is just people who were disappointed in Starfield being still disappointed in Starfield. So I think that's an element in there as well.
Yeah.
I enjoy Starfield, but I also feel like my first, few hours of playing the game, it was great. It was like 9 out of 10. But over time, by the time I finished it, it was like a 7 because the
Mm.
quality doesn't spread across the whole game. There's some things that are bad, some things that are good. Overall, 7. And I think with the DLC, a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing, the parts that's disappointing is the character, uh, not relationships, but like, you have some party members who are related to the Shatter Space storyline. So,
Mm.
okay, so you expect, all right, this character is going to have a lot to say, you have a lot to do in the DLC. And from what a lot of people's impressions has been like, well, these characters that we expected to be important are way less important than they thought, and it feels like a missing opportunity.
Mm.
If you play in a Naruto game and you got a Sound Ninja in your party and you go to the Sound Ninja village and there's nothing for them to do, it's like, okay, why are you even here? So that I can understand. But overall, I think the DLC might be fine. I don't know if it's overpriced because I don't know what the price is. But I think it it being the first big DLC for this game is the problem. People just had higher expectations.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, that could be the case as well, and I think that when I go back to it, I'm just going to kind of keep an open mind, and I'm gonna try to just play the game for what it is. I think we were very much so in the minority of enjoying that game for what it was. I think because I didn't have a lot of history with other Bethesda games, Starfield definitely felt like it had the polish, the wherewithal, and the experiences that I was looking for. Maybe I would have had better experiences in the other games, but I just don't like bugs. I don't like janky stuff. So I'm probably never going to revisit those unless they get remade or updated to a point where they pretty much aren't the same game. But yeah, I think that is. I remember trying to go back to Fallout 4, and I was just like, bro, why am I? It was like some weird problem with the refresh rate, and then there was a weird problem with, like, it was a very known problem, but it was a weird problem with um another thing that was in that game, and I just feel like the 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 modders and the community is fixing that game, and I feel like that should not be the case. So um to me, I wasn't going back and revisit. So this one was like the golden standard. It felt like they did a lot of work up front to make sure there was not a lot of bugs in it, and I really enjoyed that from them. So I like when my game publishers put in the effort. I mean, can you blame me? I mean, no, I really don't see the difference here. Um, Now I think the only like anomaly there was Cyberpunk, and I played it when it first came out, even though it was buggy as all get up. And I think that just brute force through it simply due to the fact that I love this story and the environmental storytelling so much. But probably never do that again. If I don't like something immediately, I probably don't give it that much chance. Just don't have the time like I did when Cyberpunk came out. So it's a little different. But yeah, there's nothing fundamentally broken about it. I think I'm gonna give it a shot. Hopefully, it is worth it. Hopefully, the price point I paid for it is worth it because I think I just got the premium upgrade, and I forget how much it was at the time. But we'll see. Anything to add to that, Jay Bizzle? You gonna jump back in? I don't even think you jumped in the first time.
And the first time and see them delayed controls in the 30 frames, I was just like, yeah, cut this off, bro. I know you said they updated the stuff. I just ain't got a back around to it if I ever do.
Yeah. It's tough.
I added to the wish though. You know, I still gotta be Final Fantasy 7 and Meta 4, and you know, I get to that game. Side note. And I got Game Pass up until November. I'm gonna get to it, all right.
It's man funny. It's man funny. Man. Okay. Anything else we want to talk about? I know that there was the Until Dawn stuff. Poor nostalgia. To be honest, I feel like it was a lot of people were saying that it was just whatever they did to make it cool in the first go around, they kind of took a lot of that out, but they tried to introduce some stuff that made it better too. And I feel like it was like this is like the clash of what I told y'all about how you ruin the game for people, and maybe it was just too soon because people remember it, you know. So basically, it's a technical mess as well, but the big key points of it was that I think a lot of people were upset about some of the changes too, lighting and everything. So go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, it's one of those things where because it's so recent that you have a easy direct comparison to the PS4 version, and a lot of stuff, while it's technically lower resolution or something like that, or lower quality, it looks better, like the lighting looks better, or some of the characters not necessarily look better because they look different. Because there are certain characters where like they change their hair looks more modern or more high quality, but it doesn't look good on the character's face because the character's face was a character that they scanned like 8 years ago whenever they had the actor come to the studio. And there's a disconnect where it's like you got this new technology on top of this old scan because you didn't get the character back in the studio. So it's just inconsistencies. So I think at the end of the day, it's just like, well, can you say this is the definitive edition of the game that you're going to charge $60 for? Maybe not. And that's the part of the problem. Where it's like, you probably could have just saved a lot of money just updating the resolution and frame rate of the old game and letting people play it on the newer systems. And then that's it. But you spent money remaking it. And at the end of the day, you get a mixed reception because it wasn't even necessary.
Yep. Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but that tends to be the case here. It seems as if they really were trying to, I don't know, build it better. It felt like, and it just didn't work out. So,
Yeah, I think there's either speculation or confirmation, but they said they're doing a Until Dawn like TV show or movie, and they probably want to come back to this franchise because I don't know if it's the exact same developer, but what's the developer name? Because they're confusing. I know that they've made other games, right?
yes, I don't know the developer name though, unfortunately.
Yeah, but anyways, the games that came after this haven't been as successful. So Until Dawn is kind of the franchise that has the staying power. So they want to revive it and see if they can add some more to it at least.
Yeah.
But I think this was a misstep, unfortunately. But hopefully this bad press doesn't affect their future plans.
Oh, it will. No,
Mhm.
but it definitely it's definitely one of those things where it just felt like it felt like they were it looked like they tried. Like when I was watching the Digital Foundry videos, I was looking at it and I was like, they try to make it more impactful. But I can also understand that again, it's the timing factor. Timing of it is that people who remember and beloved the older one. You could have done a free update, 40 F4K, and as you stated, kind of just brung it, tried to push a little knife into it, but just a little few graphical changes versus changing up a lot more of it because they did a significant amount to it, and I think the character animations were pretty much pretty good before, but they were really good now. But it just feel like everything that they thought what people would love, they didn't, and it's technical mess too. It's not, it doesn't run well. So I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know if
and
it
it's
was
just
cheap or if it was they spent a lot of money
I
into it.
wouldn't say it's cheap, but uh, I so I'm not gonna dog on Horizon, but it's kind of what I was trying to point at with Horizon, but it's a more clear example here where the some stuff feels good about the original, but they change it and it doesn't necessarily feel like an improvement. It just feels like a change that's not necessary. Like
Mm,
I remember Until Dawn, the whole game was nighttime, the whole game was dark, and that makes sense because you're out in the mountains and it's a spooky game, right? But
mm,
now on this one, they have different lighting and they have better lighting and they have better sunlight, but that just means that some of the scenes now you can see them at daytime, more like sunset. And I
mm,
think, yes, technically that's better because this lighting from the sunset is going to add different colors. And you got HDR now. It's going to make the screen look very good. But that takes away from the cold and spooky elements of the game. So it's like, why even bother? Why
yeah.
why change that instead of just making it newer?
Yeah, it's called Until Dawn for a reason. It's not, you're not really supposed to care about that type of stuff and like all the it felt like, yeah, you're right. You can make changes that just don't benefit anybody. You can make changes that could potentially feel as if it's a change to be a change, not a real change that helps. So I agree in that for on that front. Um, but what I will say, at least, is that it's proven and tested on others, at least in the case of Horizon, that people enjoy this format of storytelling versus the other. But I can agree that Until Dawn probably made a change just to make a change, and maybe not a beneficial one for anybody. So I never played Until Dawn. I don't know if I want to play this one or the other one when it's cheaper. I think they delisted Until Dawn, right? They didn't like that. You can't buy that other one no more.
Yeah, you can't buy
Yeah.
it anymore. You can buy it
So
physical though, probably.
yeah, so I could probably still get a copy of it physically, but this is the definitive version now. So I don't know if I'm
Or
gonna.
I played it on PlayStation Plus because they gave it out for free.
Oh, really? Do they give
Mhm.
you? They don't give you the upgrade for free though, do they?
I don't think so. I don't have PS5 to check, but yeah, I played it years ago when they gave it out for free.
Hmm. I might have to check that out because I might have it for free. I don't even know. I might check that out. See if I can see if they'll let me upgrade for free. Let me see. It's the Until. Okay. Well, that's for another time. Anyways, just wanted to cover that one to round up the day. Anything else for the good of the group before we get up out of here?
No, we covered a lot today. Um, Jalen about to pick up a lot of games. You got Black
Yeah,
Ops to pick up.
of course.
You got Starfield DLC. You got Metaphor. You gonna get Silent Hill as well?
Man, he
I'm
getting
gonna stay
all of that.
silent on that one.
Man, he
I'm
getting
about
all of that.
to I got the
All of
Super
it.
Mario 3D All Stars. I still got to get rid of. I see on GameStop. I mean, not GameStop. Well, GameStop they give you 40 ball for it. But I seen on eBay some people bids are going as high as 60, 70. I'm like, you do the math. It's 10%. You got to pay 2.7 or 9% plus 30 cents on PayPal. That's about 13%. I'm like, I ain't getting work on it, bro. Let's go to GameStop. It was like a $20 difference, maybe if I get that.
Yeah.
Ain't worth it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's the guarantee versus the gamble. I always take the guarantee for me. I ain't got time for the gamble.
Yeah, I mean, by the time they buy it, you got to do a
Yeah,
5-day auction at least with eBay. Otherwise, they charge you. By the time
yep.
they buy it, then you ship it to them. Then, but they get it. PayPal release the funds. Hopefully, they receive goods. Maybe not. Please leave good feedback. You know what I'm saying? And then, all right, I didn't waited 5 extra days and stuff, and now or a week and some change, and now I got $20 more than what I'd have got. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't even be that deep.
Mm-mm. And that's why that thing getting off to that tomorrow. Like, bro, I don't care. Give me a little bit over 300. I'll take that thing. That's all. I mean, I would want to say that I got my use out of it, but honestly, I have not. I have not gotten my use out of it. I could have played God of War Ragnarok on PC. And Horizon Forbidden West came to PC as well. So it just doesn't feel like I got my money's worth because I haven't played anything else. And it's not like I haven't tried to play games. It's just that when I tried to play games, they weren't great looking. And I'll be like, I'm not playing this on here. So Final Fantasy, not playing it on there. Final Fantasy 16, hated it, but definitely didn't want to play it. It made it worse that it was blurry. And it just felt like every time I would try to get that experience of that next generation of gaming, it was a blurry mess. So maybe the PS5 Pro helps that. Maybe I feel better about it when I purchase that. I'm not saying that you have to go out and spend more money to justify a purchase at the beginning because you shouldn't have to. It should be justified from its own merit. I don't think that thing has been justified. I don't think the Xbox been justified. We can have a conversation around that. I don't think neither one of them been justified yet. I just think that at least for me, Game Pass has provided me more experiences that I could enjoy away from the console. So I always give them the head up. But Sony got a subscription too. It's just trash. If they had a better subscription, maybe they'd be at the same level. But I don't know. Anyways, it's another topic for another day. But thank you guys for listening. As always, if you got to this part, you're the real OG. I want to thank you for listening and always supporting. I appreciate you the most. But until next time, we're going to keep looking at topics, keep bringing them to you, and we keep talking. But thank you for listening. See you next week. Peace.